tell people, and people who know me say, yo, don't mess with Becky. Becky's a good guy. You don't want no problem with nobody. But then again, I never back down from nobody. You know, I had some drama one time with the Hells Angels, and it got sorted out. Okay, so I think I'm worried about rappers. No.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I come from a world where I had criminals as friends. You know. Yeah. So I've been nearly indicted almost 2 times, and we won't go into that. But maybe later on in my second book, I'll talk about that life. But I'm just trying to avoid RICO, if you know what I mean. So there's things that I can't talk about because, you know, I don't want the RICO charges to come back on me. So, as my lawyer tells me.
Yeah. There was one thing you said, and I, you know, just as a journalist, I have to ask you what you meant by that. You said when it came to Kim, you're like, oh, don't you remember? Or you must have forgot. Like, did you guys ever go out with like, were you guys ever romantic?
Yeah, I think we dated for a weekend. Oh, okay. Actually, you know, it was for a weekend, and you know, her mom even invited me over to the house because I once did a show called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of There. Yeah. And it was when Bruce was the Bruce. Yeah. And even back then I had said, you know, this ain't no normal guy, you know. And, you know, as my witness, Chris Judd was on there too. And he was like, yo, you really think so? And, you know, we had a conversation back then. I said, you know, maybe maybe my experiences, you know, around gay and trans, and you know, because in the fashion industry you work with those kind of people, so you get to know people, you get to know people's how they move and how they, you know, how they are. So, you know, I was just often got that vibe, you know. And you know, they invited me to the house for dinner and stuff like that, but you know, some people forget things. It's cool. We in the end of all of this, Sharon, I got no beef with him, I got no beef with her. Okay. I wish those 2 people well. You know, they're going through some hard times right now. So, you know, my whole energy is positive. You know,
super positive energy.
Yeah, super positive. I just try to stay in my world and be me. You know.
Yeah. All right. No, we love your positive energy. Okay, so. Question number 8, we're almost there. So the modeling industry, and we talked a bit about this, how it's become so much more diverse, right? And we've seen the rise, I've heard you talk a little bit about this, but we've seen the rise of the Instagram model and all of that kind of stuff. Sometimes I have to wonder what some people are modeling out there because there's not clothes. But what is
I agree with you, because sometimes I'm on there just looking, you know. I don't know if I'm a true voyeur, but I want to see what, because you know, I'm like the old man that's at the screen door, like, well, you look at here, look at this. Somebody come over here and see what these. Oh, look what they doing over here. So that's kind of me now. I'm like that old man that's like, what are they doing? Oh no, you know. So.
Yeah. What do you make of the Instagram model phenomenon, and is it having an impact on fashion? Like, are the 2 worlds even really connecting?
I don't think the 2 worlds really connect as far as when you think of high fashion, but you know, if it's giving them something to do every day and it makes them happy, who am I to say, yo, don't do it? Do your thing if it works for you. You know what I mean? But we high fashion people kind of know the difference, you know, and I'm sure everyone that works with us does as well. So therefore, you know, some have crossed over, a few have crossed over and are getting in there per se. If you look at somebody like a Golden Barbie, she was a Instagram phenomenon. Like when I first met her, she had 650,000 followers, and we all thought that was crazy. We're like, wow, who's this girl? You know, this is when Instagram first started. Yeah. And now you look at her, she's doing, you know, she's doing Sports Illustrated, and she's doing all these other things, which, you know, we praise her for that. And I think it's great when you see someone come from one side to the other, because if you remember, a girl like Candace for VS, she was a fit model, and look where she's at now. You know what I mean? So
really?
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen, you know? It can happen. And then, you know, Kate Moss is not the tallest person, but yet still she was able to make it in there. So there is exceptions. And, you know, praises to those who can make it in, you know? Yeah. I was in, did my thing, and left because I got bored and I want to do something different. So now, you know, I went into the acting, producing thing, and, you know, it's working out for me.
Yeah.
But there's still things in fashion that I want to go back and address that I think need addressing, you know, like as far as like the whole Me Too movement.
I was going to ask you about that.
Like, because people got to realize it's not, Me Too is not just Hollywood. It's fashion. It's everyday life. It's, you know, it could be you working at Burger King. If somebody has approached you inappropriately or touched you inappropriately, you know, I kind of want to be, again, you know, I'm the giant killer, the bully killer. I want to find out why, and I want to talk to you about it. I want to counsel you about it. So I'm working on producing a TV show now where I want those who went through that to come forward and have a word with me. I'm like the male version of Oprah. I want to sit you down. I want to hit you with a calm voice, and I want to tell me about it. What happened? You know, I want to know. You know, I want to know, and if it's somebody that needs to be, you know, exposed and, you know, shown to the world, let's do it. You know, because I've worked with a lot of those photographers on that list, and for me, because I was the bad boy of fashion, they used to call me model. My manager, Beth Ann Hardison, at the time used to call me model gangster, you know. But for me, I still was going to castings and photo shoots with a 45 caliber in my bag. Wow. You know, I grew up, and a person like Damon John from FUBU can tell me back in the neighborhood, they used to call me Two Guns, because I always kept two on me, one in the front, one in the back, because it just, the way I grew up was just, I seen the craziest stuff. I seen dudes just, you know, walk up on somebody's Range Rover and just light it up. So for me, I always had that, you know, that fear of going out like that. You know what I mean? It's like watching guys like Tupac and, you know, Nipsey Hussle just lose their life to, you know, an instant of somebody just walking up on them and doing things like that. So I always had that fear from when I was young of, you know, that ever happening to me, you know, and having to, my siblings, my mom, having to deal with that, because that happened to my older brother. My older brother was shot like I think 5 times, you know.
I'm so sorry.
And it just was like, I remember walking up on that scene and seeing where he had got hit, and then he had grabbed where he had got shot first, and then as he dropped to the side of the car, his hand just smeared blood on the side of the car. And to this day, I can never forget that vision, you know. And I always said, I ain't going out like that. I'm going out shooting back at you, you know what I mean? And for those who are watching, I am a registered gun owner. I have a carrier's permit for 5 different states, and I do fly everywhere with my firearms. But when I come to New York, I have to go through New Jersey, you know, and then the firearm has to stay in New Jersey, you know. So I definitely am one who supports 2A, the Second Amendment. But I do realize that, you know, some people are not in a good mental state to own a firearm or to be near them. So I do respect a lot of those things. But for me, if it makes me sleep better at night, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? And, you know, a lot of times I've had firearms on me and people don't even know, you know, and it's just, it's not for them. It's for me, you know, because if you've seen as much violence as I have in my life, you know, you just want to walk and be safe in a positive way. And if you can do it legally, then do it legally. Because remember, we as African, I hate to use the word African American because I'm actually Jamaican American, but as a a black man in America, and black women, we weren't given the same right to carry firearms or have firearms until I believe was the late 50s, you know. So for us, you know, and the thought of that kind of constitutional right to be taken away from us is wrong. And whether you like it or not, it's still your right, and you should not let government or anyone, unless you have a criminal record or you're mentally unstable, then you shouldn't. But
so you believe in background checks and
I believe in background check. I have no problem doing a background check.
Yeah.
I actually believe that in order for you to own some of the things that I have, like AR-15s and, you know, AKs, and some of those are super powerful ones, I think you should be able to, you should have to take a test to see how well you handle it. How, you know, you take a test for a driver's license, why not a test for firearms? And I think that then those people can put I don't know if you want to put a gold star or a gold badge on their ID to show that they do have the right to own and carry these, then yeah, because like if I want to buy a fully auto machine gun or gun, I hate the term machine gun, but rifle, I have to fill out a ATF background check. I have to give my fingerprints. I have to give 2 photos, and I have to pay $200 tax stamp fee, and I have to wait 1 year before I'm allowed to have that. And I have what you call a class 3 license. I have suppressors. I have SBRs, which are short barrel rifles. I think you do need the proper paperwork to own those, you know. And I think every so often, yeah, you should get a mental check to make sure that you can have them. And those are the little things that the NRA and others don't want to give up, which I think is crazy. If that'll shut up the government and have them leave you alone, then why not do it? You know, some just don't want to do it for whatever reason it is, which I never understood when I had these conversations with these guys. So I'm what you call a weird person, because I'm a Democrat, but yet still I believe in the rights of owning a firearm, and that's your protection and your right to, because police response is not as fast as a bullet, you know.
Yeah.
I have this motto that I say to myself: no one's coming to save you. You know, no one's coming to save you. Yeah. And by the time they get there, it's the coroner's van doing looking to see how many shots were fired, in what direction, and who maybe was your assailant. And I always said I ain't never going to be that person. I'd rather be, you know, judged by 12 than to carried out by 6. So, you know, my motto is always stay safe, be safe.
Yeah.
You know, I have bulletproof backpacks. I have vests. I have all that things. You know? Shit hit the fan. I ain't playing.
You're ready for
No,
war.
it's not. It's not so much war. It's just, you know, it then becomes. It started out as something as protection, and then it became a hobby. So now I have like some of the most major gun companies in the world, H&K, which I'm a consumer of, you know, and Sig Sauer, and a lot of those guys follow me, and you know, I click the stuff because sometimes we use that stuff in movies. You know, we definitely work with it. You know, and you're now seeing both worlds are coming together. Like a friend of mine owns a company called G Code. They supply pretty much 90% of Hollywood for their war movies or their movies in general, because they make for the military, they make for law enforcement, they make the real deal stuff. So in order to make your movie real deal, you want to use those real deal products. So for me, it's also a business thing that I'm going to be working with those companies as far as Throttle is concerned, which I sent you the breakdown of that. So yeah, we're getting a lot of feedback from that. So, you know, it's a good thing. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. So it's lovely when you see something that you wrote and created, and you know, some of those stories that we're using in the scripted TV series Throttle are real life scenarios. I have friends who are FBI agents who, you know, worked 30 years undercover with some of the worst drug dealers in the world. And, you know, I have friends who are, people who worked, you know, in some serious, you know, high level, like, you know, jobs where they saw some of the craziest stuff. I have ATF friends, I have FBI friends, I have Secret Service friends, you know, and I have a friend who's Homeland Security, and he was telling me about one time when he was working here in Miami, and he found, you know, basically a crate full of, you know, Asian people trying to come to America, you know. Some were dead, some were alive, and it's just those kind of stories. I like to take them and write them and make them into, you know, TV or movie, you know. So I do have a lot of companies calling to want to know some of the stories. I have roughly around 5-6 different scripts written, you know, of different things that I haven't shown anyone yet. You know, some of them, you know, I remember one time I showed a couple big time people like Michael Bay, something I wrote, and he was just like, you know, this is too violent, but it's really good. You know, it's not my cup of tea, but you know, it's, you know, and I told him, I said, yo, some of this stuff is real life stuff, you know, and I wrote some heist movies as if I was going to do a heist job. And it's, you know, it's down to the point where if I was to go give this to a criminal cartel and say, hey, this is how you rob a armored truck, it would work, you know, and they'd probably say, how did you come up with this? And I was just like, you know, the best criminals make the best cops, you know, because I remember one time I was being recruited by NYPD and FBI and
you were,
yeah, and I ended up not going. I shoot probably 98 percentile better than most NYPD cops, you know, judging that my Glock doesn't have a 9 to 12 pound trigger, whereas mine has a 3 to 4 pound. So I've outshot a lot of NYPD cops because we used to go to the range when I lived up there, and I used to challenge them to a shoot off. So it's just, you know, I like I said, I write about real life experiences, and that's why I said, you know, fashion was just a stepping stone for me. You know, my real passion was always acting, writing. I'm not a writer with the WGA, but if you put me in the room with a real writer, I will give them some of the shit that I went through in my life, you know. And again,
you've got all the ideas.
I can't talk about everything because my lawyer's like, yo, don't get pulled into a RICO. So, you know, I hate to be on Baller Alert standing there in a nice polo shirt talking about, let us tell you about the stories of Tyson Beckford and the RICO charges that have been brought up against him.
That wouldn't be good.
So,
I want to go back to one of the things you mentioned, which is doing this show about the Me Too movement within fashion. Did you find yourself, I'm sure you did you ever find yourself in positions where there were people of power in the fashion industry who were trying to take advantage of you or wielding their power?
That's what started this whole thing. Like, I remember my first day on the job, it was Vibe magazine, Terry Richardson's first shoot. It was a night shoot, and you know, I don't want to call any names of you know, the two people involved, but I do remember, like, you know, this was my first big job, and you know, they wanted me to change my clothes, and you know, I wanted to go in another room and do it, and they were like, no, do it here. And I was like, okay. So I got to my underwear, and they were like, yeah, take those off too. And I was just like, I ain't doing that shit right here. You know, and it sparked a huge argument that I later, they were like, well, if you're not going to do it, then you need to go. And I was like, well, fuck this shit, I'm gonna go. You know, and I picked up my book bag, the very same book bag with the .45 caliber in it, which I could have easily took out and pistol whipped him, both of them actually. But I ended up not doing that because, you know what, I said, I had made myself a promise after my brother had gotten killed. I will not do any criminal crimes or be a criminal anymore once I had gotten an opportunity in this entertainment world. So that's always been my credo. A lot of my friends on the street will tell you, like, you know, I've had opportunities to be like, connect this person with another person. And I said, no, I said, I refuse to do anything criminal minded or criminal, you know, in any criminal connection anymore. I just stopped. I left that life behind me, and I wasn't going to bring it into the fashion world. But trust me, it took a lot for me to walk away from those two, you know, during that situation. I'm like, yo, you just want to see my dick? You know what I mean? It's just, it was, you know, it was weird. So I got fired from that job. And then, you know, I was so pissed, and I felt like, you know, I'd been sexually assaulted and abused in a way that wasn't, you know, it wasn't right. You know, it just wasn't right. And I was fuming for about a week straight. Yeah. And then, you know, I had to let it go. But at that time, there was nobody to go to. Like, I told my manager, and she was like, well, that's not right. Da, da, da. And I mean, all she could do was call them and, you know, tell them, hey, why you try to do that to my boy and this and that. But it was something that was going on in fashion. It was, I hate to say it, but it was the norm. You know, I remember like wanting to do test shoots with different photographers, but they wanted something for it, you know. Whereas if you did a test back in our day, was you were able to get the pictures, the photographer was able to have the pictures as well, and it was an even exchange. You both used them to get ahead, because your pictures that person took are in your book that might get you a book job. And then whether the person booking you for the job said, hey, who shot this? Oh my God, let me hire them for a job. So it was a give and take. But when it got to the point where there was a casting couch, it just got to the point where you were like, man, fuck this shit. I'm not, you know, I ain't letting somebody suck my dick. I'm not, you know, I don't want to fuck your wife or none of that crazy shit. But I had all that crazy shit thrown at me. So for me, I had that experience. And for me, I was such the gangster about it that it started to spread throughout the industry. Don't come at that boy like that. You know, don't come at that boy like that, because that boy don't play, you know. And I'm sure that I've gone to castings, and, you know, they've seen, before I took my shirt off, I had to like, oh, can I go to the bathroom? Because I know I had my pistol in my waist, you know. And I'm sure sometimes when I bent over to pick something up or, you know, unlace my shoes, they saw it, you know, and most didn't say anything. And then I remember even one time, you know, I'm walking up the stairs to a casting, my gun dropped on the stairs. Oh, no. And I don't know if you've ever heard a gun drop on wooden stairs. It's quite loud. So you've been to a party where somebody dropped their gun on the ground. God forbid that it went off. Probably, but, you know, it just, it's, you know, I didn't want to be that model anymore. You know what I mean? So I started carrying the gun less and less, and, you know, trying not to go to work with a pocket knife, and, you know what I mean? Just those things, because it wasn't too many models from New York City, you know, Bronx, going to casting. It was guys from Montana and guys from all over coming to New York to do the modeling thing. I was one of the few that were homegrown as far as for fashion. So, you know, I try to not bring the street to work sometimes, but sometimes, you know, some of them stylists and editors got a little feisty, and I had to really let them know, like, look, man, I don't play that shit. You know what I mean? I'm from the BX, you know, don't play with me like that. So a lot of times they didn't do that to me, but I know, and I saw models that happened to, you know. And there was this one guy that we used to always have on the polo shoots, and he was barely in the photo shoots, but yet still, when he was asked to do certain photo shoots and then go to certain dinners, he went, you know. And then I remember saying to him one time, yo, why you do that? Why you doing that? Why you kissing up to them like that? You know? Whereas I had that attitude where I don't give a fuck. I'm not letting you, you know, I'm not letting you sexually abuse me or take advantage of me in any way, whereas others didn't have that voice.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't, it was their first encounter with, you know, homosexuality, and then, you know, they got taken advantage of, you know, whether something was put in their drink or they were lured somewhere and, you know, or were dragged to a gay bar and, you know, taken advantage of. It just, shit like that was happening, you know, in that era.
Is it still happening?
I don't know, because I'm not really in it like I was every day, day in, day out. But, you know, I've dated female models where, you know, they've told me like photographers have touched them, made them feel uncomfortable, you know. Even ex-girlfriends of mine, I'm pretty sure they went through stuff. And then, you know, if they were probably smart enough not to say, I'm not going to tell him because he going to kill somebody, you know. And I think my younger me probably would have did that, you know. I would have chopped them up and fed them to the sharks. But, you know, it's just, you know, I don't like when people get taken advantage of like that. I think that's, you know, like when people do that to kids and innocent, you know, kids are so innocent. And a lot of these models were kids. I remember going to One Oak sometimes and, you know, watching these young models slumped over to find out the girl's 14 years old. What is she doing in here drinking? Yeah. And I used to always be like, yo, Richie, what the fuck? What the fuck is she doing in here? She's not even age. I'd say, yo, they'll shut you down. You know, of course, you know, the owners of the club never really knew everything because a lot of these promoters are slime balls. Yeah. But it's crazy. But, you know, I was so glad when they implemented that we're not going to let models this young, you know, come into the business anymore. Because, you know, I remember working with Chanel Iman when she was 15, you know, although her mom was there. But, you know, I just thought it was crazy because I remember my life at 15. Yeah. I wouldn't be mature enough to do any of that shit, you know. But you had a lot of these young girls in those situations. And I'm sure, you know, a lot of grown people took advantage of some of them, you know. And I'd love to, you know, talk to them and have their stories, you know. And, you know, whether we don't identify who they are or we do, I think it's something that needs to be brought to light. I think society needs to, you know, acknowledge these things that happen because you're damaging people. People are leaving the world damaged, you know, and some take to go and do the same damage to others that has been done to them. And then, you know, you start this disgusting cycle, or you cause them to want to take their own life, which is sad because you now have taken the innocence from them, you know, which I was always a champion of fighting shit like that. I don't think you should do that to people. People's, you know, it's not for you to take that from somebody, you know, and it's always the powerful always wanting to take from the weak, you know, and I'm the one who's ready to punch the powerful in their nose, you know. Stop that. You can't do that. This is wrong. You can't take advantage of people like that, you know. And there's so many that come to New York City chasing that dream and then having to run back home with their tail between their legs, you know, horrified, you know, big city, big lights, you know, and it's just wrong, you know. And, you know, I just want to be that person who sits and talks to them and helps them go through these things because it's not easy. Like for me, growing up in the streets and in the hood, it gave me that shell, that toughness that I needed because, you know, I go into a casting and get rejected. I'd be like, oh, well, you know, where one door closes, another one opens. And, you know, I'm glad so many rejected me in the beginning of my career. Otherwise, I would have never got the job at Ralph, you know. Yeah. So for me, it was a beautiful situation and not everybody gets that chance. Yeah. You know, what happened to me was like winning the lottery, you know, and
which
is
why we haven't seen another you since and you retired in 2008.
I mean, they try, they'll shave the poor kid head, and you know, you're the next Tyson. There is no next Tyson. There is no next Naomi Campbell. There is no next Cindy Crawford. Although her daughter looks almost exactly like her, it's just we're one of one. You know, there will never be another Tupac or Nipsey or any of those that we've lost. DMX, there won't be. what we need to do is nurture and help blossom the next person who wants to chase that dream, instead of stifling them and telling them, oh, you can never be that, you know. You could probably be better, you know. There's probably a better Tyson coming out, but it may be maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 20 years from now. Who knows? We don't know, you know. I don't ever put that pressure on my son to be the next Tyson, you know. Don't be like your dad. I always tell him, be better than dad, you know, because that's what we should be doing.
Absolutely.
But, you know, it is what it is.
Well, you mentioned we're on question 9. You mentioned Throttle, which is your new show. You're filming it in Miami.
Baby right now. I'm 2 going on almost 3 years into this, putting together this show. You know, it's hard work. I've never done this before, so this is my first run at it. But I've met with some,
and you're starring on the show.
I will be producing and starring, and being the creator of it. It's tough because you have this vision. I see my character, Ronan Walker, how he is, and Ronan is much like me. He wants to fight the bad and help the good succeed. So but he's also dealing with his own demons. You know, he's got post-traumatic stress from you know, being in the military and tours of duty in Afghanistan and Iraq, and seen things and been sent on missions that his country has sent him on, which he probably would have never went on if it wasn't orders, you know. So I have a lot of friends who were in the military, and then, you know, I have a lot of Marine Corps buddies who, you know, sometimes they call me at 3 o'clock in the morning and they want to talk, you know, or they're like, yo, let's just go grab a cigar and a beer and talk, you know, because I know what it means when they reach out to me. You know, they need to talk, and I can't say, well, no, I'm busy. No, I drop everything I'm doing because, you know, they are more comfortable talking to me than, you know, someone who specializes in that. And that's a start, because if I can get them to start talking to me, I can then suggest them, hey, let's go see this guy, you know, and if you want, I'll sit in on it with you. But, you know, there's people who are dealing with a lot of mental issues that, you know, we sweep under the rug. Oh, that person's crazy. Oh, he's a nut job. And, you know, we're quick to push them off and say something, but we're not there. We're not quick to help them. And I think, you know, a show like Throttle deals with that. It deals with some of the episodes are dealing with sex trafficking, child abuse, gun runners, drug dealers, white collar crimes. These are all the things that are going on in our world that we tend to look past, you know. And it's, you know, we tend not to call out, you know, government officials for hanging out and hiring sex trade workers. You know, we have a politician now who's under investigation for those things, but his party won't call him out. Yeah, it won't call him out. They just, you know, they just act like it ain't happening. And this man is still going out, talking to people, telling people, you know, for me, I think they all should be shot and killed. You know, it's just the way I think. But I can't go out and do that. You know, a crazy person will go do that. But it is something wrong when a grown man is hiring a young underage child to have sex with. There's so many grown women. What's wrong with you, bro? You know, and that to me, you know, and with Throttle, my character Ronan Walker has that green light. You know, he's got the green light from the government to go turn those people's lights out. And I think it's going to get controversial. You know, there's a scene that I wrote the other day where, you know, he's on his way to a party. He's with all his rich white friends, and he's rich himself, but yet still the cops pull him over and they single him out. And then his white friends are there saying, you know, hey, why are you treating our friend like that? So there's, you know, I want to deal with what the social injustices that are going on in the world. And I think we need a show like that. You know, we don't have too many black heroes on television, you know.
Yeah.
You know, they gave us Black Panther, and then, you know, he's gone, you know, not due to any of their faults, but, you know, we we had a hero for a minute, you know. Now we need another one.
Yeah.
You know, and
we love
my hero does.
Boseman. Yeah.
Yeah, my character doesn't wear a cape, so I don't really write stuff that are like exploding cars and people flying in the air. I write real life scenario, real shit that going on. You know what I mean? Real shit that people are dealing with. You know, the homelessness, the the sex trafficking, the child trade. Because how are our kids missing and we don't know where they are? You know, and what country are they in that we can't go and get them back? It's just something's going on, you know, and politicians know, the police know, but they're not telling us, you know. We can't keep our kids safe. That's a problem. You know, my whole life is dedicated to keeping my son safe. My son called me, Dad, I got a problem. Oh, yeah? Where are you? That's all I need to know. Yeah. You know, because I'm coming with my bag and my gear. And I want you to know what Daddy's going to do. That's not what Dad does. But like any parent would do the same thing. You know, any parent. That's what we do when you're parents. You know, to this day, my mom still thinks I'm a baby in diapers. You know, and she knows I'm a grown man, but she still looks out. And
you're her baby. You're
yeah, I'm her baby. And there's so many of us like that. You know, we have parents who are like that, and it's great. You know, but it's just that we live in a world that's crazy. You know, despite what you think, you have people who believe that coronavirus is fake. You know, and I look at them like, you know, I look at them like, you're fake. I can't even talk to you. Let me get out of here. You know, and they believe that there's a microchip in the vaccine. I've gotten my first Pfizer shot already because, you know what,
I 2 days ago.
Yeah. So I'm getting my second one on June 4th. So all my friends, like a lot of my Jamaican friends, are like, you know, you're not going to be able to have kids. I'm like, stop it. Where are you getting this information? So there's so much misinformation out there. And, you know, and I was going to wait till I get my other shot to just post my card so people can see that, you know. And the only thing I got, my side effect was soreness in the arm. Everybody else might not be the same. You know, everyone's like, that second shot is something. Then I have friends who got both and they're like, yo, nothing happened to me. I wasn't sick. I didn't, you know, no soreness, you know.
I had a sore arm, and then because I've had COVID before, the first shot has given me, like, I've had a temperature, fever, and bad headache.
Yes, I mean, haven't. God for knock on wood, I didn't, you know, I never exposed to COVID because I was being safe. I was paranoid. I wore gloves. I wore 2 masks. I did, you know, I would have a K95 mask, and then I would have a bandana over it. And, you know, I didn't go hanging out with people. I didn't go to clubs. I just stayed the hell out of it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
An air purifier that cleans my air in the house consistently. I turn that joker on every day, let it run for it. And it smells like a hospital, but, you know, I know. And then I would find like mosquitoes that are dead, and I'm like, gotcha, you know, because they tell you that thing is so powerful that you can't have plants or animals or anything in the house. Everything that's in your house is going to die. I got to put you up on that, girl. I got it at Amazon, cheap. But it's you know, it's those things that I did, and I was trying to be super safe. So when, you know, 230 million Americans got their shot, I said, okay, it's okay. I can go get mine now. Because I was going to wait to herd immunity. Yeah. But when 30%, I was like, nah, I'm going to get mine. Fuck this shit. I ain't taking no chance.
Yeah.
I have friends who had COVID, and some of them still can't breathe. You know, some of them still don't have their taste. Some of them don't have their smell. And I don't want to be like that. You know, so I just said,
lingering effects. I had brain fog for the longest time. I had
see, I don't want none of that.
Did
you have see, I don't want none of that.
Yeah, you don't want it.
So I just said, hey, I'm just gonna do it. Yeah. You know, and I have no problems. I mean, the first day when I got it, I felt like I was high from smoking weed, but then again, I was like, maybe because I smoked some weed in my past life, so maybe that's what it is. So, but I didn't. I had the soreness in my arm. Yeah. My mom said, take a Tylenol, and then I put some hemp muscle rub on it, and then it went away. It went away like in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just like, okay, well, all right, well, now I'm waiting for that second one.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but I do urge people, you know, and I know some people are very scared to do it. I urge you to do your research. Do what's best for you. You know, I travel a lot. I'm interacting with people all the time, and you know, for me, it was just important for me to go and do it. You know, I'm 50 years old, and I eat no spring chicken, so I ain't taking no chances. You know,
you're still 50 years young. 50
that's
young.
yeah. You know, I'm halfway to 100. I'm getting there.
Well, if you make it to 100, I think that's a great thing.
Oh man, my grandmother made it to 99, who I have her urn right here in my house. You know, she's my angel.
Oh,
so
wow.
you know, we take turns and we pass grandma around. So I have to take grandma on a motorcycle ride because that's what she wanted. So I'm going to put her in a backpack and I'm going to take her on my bike.
Okay. Give her a throw ride.
Yeah, right? It's not like I can scare her now, but
yeah.
You know,
well, now we are on question number 10, so this is the last one.
Okay.
You almost completed the 10 and 10 challenge. So as a kid growing up, you had a bit of a difficult time. I know people used to, you mentioned it earlier as well, having the Jamaican accent. People used to make fun of you, and you I heard you say in an interview that girls didn't really give you the time of day for the longest time as well.
No, didn't.
And it's sort of, you know, middle finger up to all those people from back in the days, right?
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
But what advice do you have for people who are going through a tough time right now in terms of how to find that inner confidence so that they can live their dreams at any age, however old they are? And I've heard you say some interesting stuff about how to find that inner confidence, because that's so important.
It is very important. So what I always suggest to people, invest in yourself as far as eating right, spending time with yourself, working out. Do things that make you feel good. Don't do things to make others feel good, because now you're at a point where your self-esteem and everything is low. So you need to build that up. And I find that that when I work out, I get a confidence. I get great posture. You know, I feel better about myself. You know, I get rid of the stress whenever I work out. And I think that is one of the best things. And also, I know it sounds crazy, but meditation. Meditation is such a beautiful, amazing thing. We live in this world where we have these phones, we have these PlayStations, we have these TVs, you have the YouTube. Turn all of that off. Just turn it all off. Close your eyes, sit on the floor of your house or wherever you want, go to the park, tune everything out, and just take yourself to anywhere you want in the world. You know, whether it's a beach, whether it's, you know, whatever makes you feel good. Like, you know, just go there, sit, don't speak to anybody, just close your eyes and just imagine wherever you want to be, and just do that. You know, whether it's every day or whenever you're feeling stress, and you know, that works for me. Also reading. Read a book that you would never think you would read. You know, read, like right now I'm reading about a Russian nuclear physicist. Like, I would never think that I would want to pick up this book, but I've read everything from, you know, Malcolm X, which is one of my favorite autobiographies, you know, to Martin Luther King and all those different books. I just read something that, you know, takes you to another dimension, another world. Like, get out of the world that you're in for a minute. Yeah. Reflect on who you are. Build your self-confidence within yourself, you know, because it comes from within to go out. Because it was one thing that I learned as a kid, because, you know, I was such an ugly duckling to the world. You know, I had gap teeth. I had these this Chinese heritage, which was not normal. You know, there weren't any Blasians, you know, growing up in the 70s and the 80s. And I had this huge afro that was, most of the time I tried to comb it and keep it, but it was just so much hair. And then whenever I braided it, you know, the white kids would be like, "Are you a girl or a boy?" And, you know, as a kid, sometimes you're like, no, I'm a boy. And then you have to pull your pants down and show I'm a boy. You know, but it was just like, you know, you go through these things where people are, words hurt, you know, words hurt. And it doesn't matter what age you are, but words hurt. And sometimes you have to take that into consideration and understand how to approach other people. But I always find the meditation to be so spiritually moving to me. Like I'll light an incense or I light some sage, and just the smell alone puts me in a tranquil, calm place. And, you know, I go off sometimes. I like sit there and meditate, and, you know, and then when I come to, I find myself like in another world. Like I was just watching the Amazon little documentary on J Balvin, and, you know, he suffers from anxiety, and one of the things that his doctor prescribed him to do was to meditate. So this guy's got this huge concert going on in Colombia during the height of this protesting going on there, and, you know, you can hear the fans yelling and chanting his name before the concert, but he gets this anxiety attack, and then his doctor immediately puts him in a quiet room. They light all these candles for him, and then he just goes off into another world for like a half an hour or 15 minutes or however long he went off. But before he went into it, you could see how he came, you know, how he was just so, you know, jitters and all kinds of things. And then when he came out of it, he was just so calm. It was almost like watching him float across the TV screen. And then when they dropped the stage and he went on and performed, he tore it up. Him, Nicky Jams, all these people, Jay-Z, and all these people called him. It was such a great documentary to watch. You know, to know that others go through it. You know, we all go through some things. You know, he might have 100 million followers. You know, and you might have, you know, 1,000 followers, but we all go through things. You know, and if you can find a way to escape and be somewhere where it's good for you, then, you know, it's always a blessing. And I tell people, find the confidence within yourself. Do things that make you feel confident, and then just keep building on that and keep building on that. If you have a problem speaking in front of others, go in front of the mirror, look yourself in the eye, speak, give your speech, do whatever it is. You know, sometimes I do that for acting parts, like when I want to play the tough guy, but I can't stop laughing or smiling. I get in the mirror and I tell myself, do this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know that you also look in the mirror, like before like a big runway show in the past, you would look in the mirror and say, I'm great.
I'm Tyson Beckford. I'm Tyson Beckford. Or before going into big speaking engagements, I do that. You know, I'm Tyson Beckford. I have the confidence to do that. And I have the confidence to do this because I'm here now. And now is where I shine. You know, and I'll tell myself things like that, you know, and then be able to just go out there and just woo the crowd or woo whatever I got to do. You build that confidence in yourself, you know, because growing up, I didn't have a lot of confidence. I was a very shy kid. I've never, you know, I would never want to be seen by people, you know, and I still have it to this day where I become a recluse. You know, some of my friends were like, man, I forgot you still live in Miami. You know, some people like they don't ever see me because I'm hiding out at home because, you know, I'm working, you know, because I can work from home. I can Zoom call to LA and tell them, okay, well, we need to add this, or whether it's the book or the Netflix thing I'm working on, you know, I just bury myself in these projects. My manager called me and said, you know, my old manager, Beth Ann Hardison, called me and said, you know, I'm so proud of you. How you've taken on the responsibility of this Netflix docu-series. You're like on point, you know, you're reviewing, you're going back, you're changing things, you're making it, you know, because there was the intro of the book says one of the top African-American models in the world. I said, no, we're going to change that. The top Jamaican-American model in the industry. You know, she praised me on that, and she was like, I love that. I love how you reword the things that, you know, that don't fit you. I said, yeah, no, I just, no one's done what I've done. You know, no one's been this successful in this business as far as a male as I've done. I'm right up there with the females, you know, and I want to leave a good legacy. I want young people to want to do good, you know, whether they want to follow in my footsteps or not. But, you know, you just definitely got to lay down what's important, you know, and do the things that make you happy and feel confident. And that's why I always tell people, look in the mirror, talk to yourself, build your confidence, you know. And I always used to tell people, win your neighborhood, win your city, win your state, win your country, and then you can win the world.
Good advice. Good advice. And just knowing that even people like yourself, you know, you see you walking down the runway or in a movie and just looking just so confident, but to know that you have to, you know.
Yeah, we do that. Yeah. I know so many other celebrities that do the same thing, and I think it's a good thing that you do that, because, you know, you are in control of yourself. You are yourself that you know that the world sees. So you have to be good to yourself in order to be good to others.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because people think when they see celebrities, oh, they're just so confident. But I've sat down with celebrities who were nervous to even sit down to do an interview. And they're
exactly. So, you interviewed enough to know, you know.
We're all human.
And then, you know, you get some haters out there.
Yeah.
Like your buddy Wendy Williams. She's a Tyson hater, but yet still, I got called not too long ago. She wanted me to come. I see. Yeah. But you know, I can't hate you for that.
You should go on.
We choose our friends wisely. No, you know what? Yeah. I think in order for me to do anything with her, like she owes me a public apology for her to start, because she's the one who was, you know, just starting the drama with me, like the gay rumors and all of that. And I was like, sweetheart, I'm not gay. When you met me, I had a girlfriend. And then how am I, you know, and then it just, you know, no matter how nice I tried to be with her, she just kept using me as a pawn to get ahead with her TV show and a radio show at the time. And I just said, you know what, you know, and then I had issues with her, her ex, Kevin, you know, he almost got it one day at the car wash. He'll never forget that day. And the funny thing is, he went and called the gangster Jamaicans, who then said to him, Becky? No, not Becky. That's our boy. We're going to come after you. So it turned on him that the kids that he called to try to come and get me, they were my longtime friends. And they were like, oh, no. So you know, it's just...
You have a lot of nicknames, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
You have like 1,000 nicknames.
Yeah, well,
1,000 nicknames.
The Becky came from the last name Beckford, so it used to be my dad's name first.
Okay.
So, you know, my dad was in.
Hair.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was in the streets. Yeah. So that was a gangster name for him when he was younger, and then my older brother got it, and then it is now mine. So, you know, so when we're in Jamaica and the three of us are together and somebody yells Becky,
you all turn around.
So we don't know which one. And they'll say Senior Beck, you know. Okay. Because I'm the little one, so, or Little Beck.
Yeah, you're Little Beck.
Little Beck. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's crazy that I came to America and then they were like, yeah, Becky means a girl. I'm like, no, it don't. Not where I'm from.
Yeah.
Not my part of Jamaica. No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Well, Tyson, thank you so much for everything. That was really awesome. I really appreciate you being so candid and sharing so many incredible stories as well.
Yeah, you know, when you get older, you just don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm still running from that Rico. I don't want to get caught up in that. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone appreciates it. I appreciate it for sure. You've always been a big inspiration to so many of us.
Thank you.
And you continue to be, and you've already left a fantastic legacy, and there's more to come. So we're super excited. Yeah. So the TV show, where are we going to be able to find that?
Right now, we are talking. We just had a meeting last week with Paramount.
Okay.
Because they just started streaming. So we're talking to different people. Okay. We're just trying to find a home. For me, I still want to talk to Netflix and Amazon Prime. I think that's probably a good place for us, but there's so much going on. Everyone's scrambling to to put something out. And I think
especially after COVID.
Yeah, there's so much stuff going on, and there was so much that I saw what I watched on Netflix and on Prime, and there's nothing like it. I sent the same thing I sent to you, to Whoopi Goldberg. She loved it. She was like, I've never seen anything like it ever on television. And she was like, how can I be a part of it? I said, well, I want you to play my grandmother in it. And she said, yes. And then she said, what else can I do? And she's like, I said, you want to be an executive producer? So now we have Whoopi Goldberg as an executive producer on it. And yeah, so we're trying to do some big things, you know. So we just need, you know, a network to do this on.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't want to go to NBC or ABC or any of those, because then I'm going to get, you know, I can't
There's only so much
really expose. Yeah, there's only so much I can show, and everything needs to be shown on this. Everything. We can't hold anything back. I mean, if there's a scene with a child molester, we need to show that, so people are like, whoa, you know, we need to wake people the fuck up, because real shit is going on. America has been censored far too long from so many things that it just, you know, we've become weak, you know. We've become really weak, so we need to stop that, you know.
Well, definitely keep us posted, and I know you're going to sell the show. It'll be, you know, amazing to see.
Man, I'm like a drug dealer trying to sell this, work.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna get this work sold.
It can take a while to get it all together.
Yeah, it can. Like I said, I've been working on this for 2.5 years of my life so far, and I'm not giving up at all, because everyone who reads it is like, wow, you know. So I got to keep that going. I have some independent companies just want to give me the money just to shoot it, and you know, there's talks of either turning it into a TV series or we turn it into a full-fledged film. And either way for me doesn't matter, as long as we get the story told and people see the life of Ronan Walker, you know.
Yeah. Exciting. Well, I can't wait to watch it. And I know you'll keep us posted. And I would say we'll look up you on Instagram, but you've only got 9 pictures on there. So
yeah, but you know what? It's not about my pictures. It's about my stories.
Okay.
Because I think my stories is everything. And I think that's what, you know, the last few weeks I picked up 4,000 new followers, and I think it's my stories. I try to show real stuff. I try to show what I'm going through. Sometimes I show the you know, the humor that I find on Instagram, or something that I feel like people need to see. So my stories is everything, you know.
Yeah.
Don't look too much at the pictures, but the stories are everything.
Yeah. See, you and I go way back, but like I haven't known you to this extent where I've like seen all that humor and all the passion.
Yeah.
And so it's
great you know, I have a comedy that I did with Rotimi and Erica Ash and Stephen Bishop, and you know, it's called Singleholic. I don't know when it's coming out, and I play this character called Manny, who has a Jerry curl, and you know, sometimes I post up stuff about it, but it's a film that's in the can. I don't know when it's coming, and you know, and everyone who's seen it says, "Yo, it's going to change my career," because people don't know that funny side of me. So I play this aerobics instructor who just, you know, he's a womanizer, but then he learns his ways after a close encounter with death. It's a very funny film. You know, I just wait for people to see some of the works that I've done that haven't come out yet.
Yeah.
So I'm patient.
Yeah. Patience is a virtue. It's all going to happen.
Yes.
Tyson,
yes, it is.
Thank you again so much. You guys at home, thank you for watching as well.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, you know, best of luck with everything. We're super excited about all your projects.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
we'll
enjoy
talk
Miami.
Soon. I will. Come visit.
I will.
The offer's there.
I know.
All right.
I know. I'm coming to Miami soon.
I hope so.
I will.